Hello, it's Virginia from the Yellow Farm, and I wanted to do a tutorial this morning on lock spinning. I have a friend, Jody, who has Teeswaters, and she's a spinner, but she hasn't done, I don't think, any lock spinning, and I wanted to help her out with that because I know once she does, she's going to be addicted for life. I've dyed some locks here. These are Wensleydale. And I've chosen for the first time, if you're a first time lock spinner playing with these locks directly into your spinning, you might want to choose a fleece that has a little bit of cotton sort of feel to it. When you separate it, it pulls nicely into pieces this way. It'll help to adhere a little bit when you're spinning, and that just gives it a little bit more grip. This fleece is the staple is about 3 to 4 inches, not too long, not too short. I've dyed it, which you can do, or you can just spin it. You can actually spin it in the grease if it's a nice clean fleece that has been coated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this fiber, and before I go over to the spinning wheel, I'm just going to take and just open it a little bit. For those of you that have not done this before and are used to only spinning a little more traditional roving or top, this will help you to get over the panic of feeling the bumps in it as you spin. It a little bit like pre-drafting that first time that you learn to spin. And again, once you get the feel of this, you are just going to love doing it. It's really a lot of fun. It gives the fiber a chance to sort of have its own character. At least that's the way I look at it. It has a little bit of a mind of its own. So all I'm doing here is just opening up some of the big lumps because these are going to come directly to my wheel. I'm going to start spinning them. And your comfort level, if you hit really big snags, it may bother you. So certainly for the first time when you're trying this, I would open these up just, so that it gives you a little easier time for your first experiment. So just something like that. Just nice, easy, soft, fuzzy bits. All right, we're going to take this over to the wheel. Okay, so here we are at the wheel. I'm using an Aura, which I really enjoy. It has nice big orifice, so you can do some textured yarns, and they can feed on. You can try this on any wheel that you have. Just if you have a wheel that has a very small orifice, make sure that the yarn you're trying to work with, that you do have it to be fairly fine, so you don't have a lot of catching through here. I'm going to go ahead and try to do this fairly thick and heavy so that you could see what I'm doing. And I've started some. You would just start with your lead. I'm spinning clockwise, and I'm just going to start. I have quite a bit of tension on my wheel because I don't want to overspin all of this. So I do have some tension, but it has to be really comfortable for you. I think, the scary part is if your wheel is set a little too tight, with too much tension, and you're panicking because you're getting stuff going on and into the drafting zone and into the spinning that you're concerned about. And I think that's the biggest fear for most folks to get over when they're doing something like this, because we're so used to wanting to have something very uniform, and our fingers are so used to trying to prepare something in the drafting zone that is even and doesn't deviate. And that's wonderful, but it doesn't work very well for this technique. This is kind of a good exercise in letting go. So all we're going to do is, if you were just starting this on your lead, you'd find a section of fiber that has some openness to it, and I'm going to do like a worsted join. I'm going to hold this at right angles to my yarn until it catches, and once it catches, I'm just going to close it in and feed it in like you do for a regular roving. Now, I don't like to over twist my singles too much unless I know I'm going to ply them. And you certainly can ply these. So for your first attempt, and we're going to assume this is your first attempt at spinning locks. Your first attempt, you don't want to be too tight with the spin. You want to get yourself, I think, to the point at first where you're comfortable and you don't panic about the things that are slipping through your fingers and worry too much about it. You are going to hold the drafting zone is going to be right here between your two fingers, as it usually is. I like to work fairly close to the orifice, but again, work with however it works best for you. These should be, for your first time, these should be separated a little bit more, I think, because it makes it a little easier when what you're feeling here as you're drafting feels to you a little more like roving. So I'm going to join in a little more of this sort of open, fibery lock formation. And I'm going to draft it almost as though I'm drafting roving. You can see I'm pinching it here in my left hand, and I'm just smoothing this out a little bit. You have to be careful that you're not trying to make it too thin or too smooth. You have to try to take a deep breath, pedal very slowly, and let yourself let go of your twist sometimes so that you don't panic. And so you're allowing some of the texture that comes along. See, in these lovely locks, you're just kind of allowing them to twist in. It shouldn't be panicky. It shouldn't be fast until you're comfortable with it. But just starting out, it should feel sort of relaxed. And it's kind of exciting to have something with so much texture that you're kind of letting it create its own way through your fingers into the yarn. If it starts to get too thin, just take a little fuzzy piece, hold it to the right, like a worsted join. You're going to let those fibers catch in, and then just relax a little bit. I'm even going to let go and let the spin start down into that drafting area so that it catches whatever's coming along. It's a very forgiving way to spin, obviously, because you have so much texture and you have so much fat to thin, thin to fat. I'm sure you know that if it gets really thin, you might want to put a little extra twist in it. If I get down here to an end, say, like this, and oh my gosh, I've forgotten what I'm doing and I don't have anything, and it's very thin, over twist that, because the over twist will give it enough strength that you could just hold tight to it, put something else in there, hold tight to it, and then start your relaxation technique again and breathe a little bit, relax, and just try to let things flow through your fingers. You do get the feel of this pretty readily, but it is very scary to let go. It's very scary to sort of trust that this mass that you have in your hand as you draft it back a little bit will hold together and will form something that you're going to like as the end result, and to give your fiber the freedom to sort of create its own way. You can do a fairly thin spin if you want to. If you're doing this for your first time and you find that you're trying to pull this fiber down to a very, see, look at that. Redo that. I have to pause there. So if you're having trouble and it's just too lumpy, open your take a section of locks and open them more. Open them right up so that it almost feels, what you have in your hand just feels like a bit of sort of textured roving. And when you look at it, you can see that all the fiber is really open in your hand, because that's going to give you a lot of grip. See how this is, if you can see the lock structure in too big a piece, you want to open it up, because that's going to let you, for your first time, be a little more successful in getting this onto your wheel and getting the feel of it. And that's all spinning is a feel. And once you get the feel of this, you'll say, oh, of course, that's really fun. And you'll go off in your own direction. So again, be successful this first time. Open these locks up as much as you can with your fingers. Some people use a dog comb or a flick to do this with. You could do that too. I like using my fingers. And then again, add a little bit of that fiber in a random way as a worsted join, and then bring everything down together, and then just draft it. and you'll find, wow, I can draft these locks.